Lesson 9-6, Analyze Data. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to identify clusters, gaps, and outliers for a set of data, as well as interpret and make line plots. Make sure you have your pencil and paper ready so that way you can take notes and work right along with me. Here are 3 important vocabulary words to write down. You'll need these for today's lesson, and they're crucial in understanding today's lesson. So our first word is clusters. Those are places on the line plot where several x's occur very close together. The next word is gaps. Those are large places on the line plot where no data occurs. The last one is outliers. These are numbers set apart from the rest of the data, and they can affect the central tendency of the data set. And remember, the central tendency is when you're figuring out the mean, median, and mode. So make sure you pause this video and get all of these vocabulary words written down. Let's put these new vocabulary words into use. Here we have a line plot. And on here we have graphed different temperatures. Each of these x's represents one day, and then each of these, this is temperature in degrees Celsius. So this would be 1 degree Celsius, this would be 2. So they've plotted all of that, and here they've got 1 here, 1. There's 3 days had 3 degrees, 2 days had 4 degrees, 1 had 5, and out here 1 was at 10. So let's take a look at each of these words. So the first one we're going to look at is clusters. So we're going to look here, remember that's the place on the line plot where several x's occur very close together. So right here we have a group of 3 and a group of 2 right here. That would be a cluster. So here our data cluster would be from 3 degrees to 4 degrees. We're not counting all of those ones because there's a few of them scattered. Right here is where we're counting because there's 3 and 2 right here together. So that would be our cluster on this graph. The next one we're going to look at are the gaps. That would be where there's large places on the line plot where no data occurs. So if we take a look here, we've got a gap right in here. So we would say the gap is between 5 degrees Celsius and 10 degrees Celsius because it's everything between those two numbers. 5 degrees Celsius and 10 degrees Celsius. Again, that's because it's between these two numbers where there's no data. Now we look at the outliers. Those are numbers that are set apart from the rest of the data. If we take a look here, here's where all of our data is, except for this one lone X out here. That would be our outlier, would be clear over there at 10 degrees Celsius. That would be an outlier. In today's work, you're going to be asked to find out the mean, median, and mode, looking at the different graphs. You worked on that in the previous lesson, so take a look at those notes on what mean, median, and mode are. And then you'll also be paying attention. Sometimes they want you to include this outlier in your mean, median, and mode because it's part of the data set. Sometimes then they're going to say, don't include the outlier, and then you compare, how does that change what you've gotten for your mean, median, and mode? How does that change that information from your data set? So make sure that you review today's notes and yesterday's notes before heading off to do today's lesson.